people tonight, perhaps as early as 8 o'clock, although very unlikely. But right now, despite the fact that in the distance I see tons, if not dozens, of red and blue strobe lights still moving, not a lot of activity, at least so far. Thankfully, nothing happening at this very moment. Martha?
Yeah. Kevin, thank you. Sadly, we know that a woman was shot and killed in the course of the chaos at the United States Capitol today. Joining us now, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who was inside the Capitol as this unfolded. In fact, we were speaking with Bill Hemmer this afternoon, and you were relaying this to Bill, and you could hear, Leader McCarthy, the shock and the cameras, just fear in your voice of what was happening at that time. Can you tell us more about that tonight?
Well, this was the worst we've seen of America this afternoon. Now, hopefully tonight you'll see the very best of what democracy and our Constitution tells us when we get back to work. But this is unacceptable. And I think for the heart of every American, we have to take a pause and we have to realize what has gone on for the last couple of years, the anger we've had to one another if somebody disagrees with one another. We are so much better than what transpired today. And I would hope we'd take this moment to start to heal and unite the nation together. We can disagree, we can protest, but not what transpired today. A woman lost her life. People were scaling walls. People were breaking the symbol of democracy into the Capitol. It was appalling to see. It was the saddest moment I've ever had as a member of Congress. And we are so much better than what today displayed to the world.
So we watched the president earlier at the rally, and he was telling everyone that the election had been stolen, that he had won in a landslide, and that, important things were going to happen, that he wanted Vice President Pence to do the right thing. And then we heard that Vice President Pence said, I have analyzed this in every way I can, and my job is to oversee and preside over the certification of these states' vote. And I heard one man who was walking along the street with our Griff Jenkins, and he said, yeah, I just heard that, Vice President Pence is not going to overthrow this election. What do you think of what the president said today to the people there, and of what transpired after that, and what they were so upset about?
Well, people can be upset about an election, but you don't go to this direction. This is way too far. We can have a debate where we can disagree. We can have a debate about election integrity. We can fix the problems that we have going forward, but not in a display that took place today. I want to get back in that chamber tonight to show that that mob cannot control this government, that we are so much better than what transpired, and will show what democracy looks like to the rest of the world, that we could have a transfer of power peacefully like we've done every year before. And we will debate issues, but we will not act this way.
So you spoke with the president several times today. What can you tell us? How can you characterize what he was thinking and feeling as he was watching all of this? We saw the video. He again came out and talked about his landslide win, and he said, that he loved the people that were out there and he wanted them to go home. And then he tweeted, everyone remember this day with an exclamation point. What do you think about all of that?
I remember the day for a different point. I remember the day as a low point. I hope this day changes the course of history. I hope this day unites one another. I mean, if we all think for one moment we all have a responsibility as Americans, we may disagree with somebody, but think about what you say on social media. Think about what you talk about one another. Did you lose a friend because somebody else won an election? Can't we respect the differences of opinion? I mean, that's the uniqueness of who we are. That is why we are the beacon of freedom for the rest of the world. Today was not that day, but we can be and should be. And we'll have debates, but in this election, we do our very best. We know there's challenges in an election. We know there's challenges about the integrity. We fix that. We fix that through the process that we all respect through a constitution. Not through arms, not through breaking in, not through intimidating, where a person ended up dying today, where the Capitol Police, there are broken bones, there are injuries with others. Defending the nation's capital from Americans? That's what's wrong, and that's what has to change.
I was just told that Twitter has suspended the president's account for 12 hours, and they marked it with violating the course of history. You've had a lot to say about Twitter and Facebook, and they have, wielded their power in a number of ways. What do you say to that move this evening? Violating civil integrity. Excuse me. That was the phrase.
I think that builds up to everything else. I mean, that's why everybody has responsibility in here. Do you deny a person a voice? Do you judge them based upon their opinion? You know, we created a nation because we believe in the First Amendment. It's the very First Amendment. We don't believe in mob, but this idea that now we're going to deny people based upon what they believe, it adds to this. What we watched happen in the streets through the summer, thinking someone can break into a person's store because they have a right to take it. We have gone too far this year as a nation that we should take. And I was hoping 2021 it was going to be so much different. This is our moment of time to change course. This is our moment of time that everybody should stand together, unite, and find what is the very best about us. Because this country is exceptional. But the moment today was not. And we should not let it stand. We should not be silent about it, but we should change course and make sure we do come together.
I think everybody agrees with you on that. Let me ask you about some of the housekeeping, so to speak. It's pretty messy inside all of those buildings right now. Do you think that you will get back in there and that you will get on with the business of this certification tonight? And do you believe that all of the efforts to question the certification we had heard anywhere from 3 to 6 states, are Republicans still committed to doing that for 6 states, which would take hours and hours and hours? Is that still going to happen?
I believe we'll get in there tonight. I've talked to those on the ground in security. It's taken us some time to clean the chambers. I know all leaders are committed to making sure we get this done to show the country we can do our work. We can follow the democracy. We can follow the Constitution. There's nothing wrong with having questions about the election. There's nothing wrong with questioning because this is the only time. Remember, this is the people's house. This is where debate should take place. This isn't where mobs should take place, but debate. It's healthy to have debate. I believe we'll finish Arizona. Not sure what will continue on, but we have to finish the rolls. We have work to be done, and we should finish it.
But I'm told that Cathy McMorris Rodgers, has sort of pulled back from the full dispute over 3 to 6 states, given what has happened today. Do you recommend that? Would you say to your party that they should move on from that, or do you want them to continue down that path?
I would like us to finish Arizona. We've got another hour of debate. But I think in light of what has transpired, now everybody has a right that gets elected to Congress or the Senate, and this isn't the first time that this has been challenged. The Democrats have used this every single time a Republican's been elected in modern history since '88. But I think what has transpired today may hopefully bring people together in a different light, finish it, but also think about the challenges that are out there that has transpired when it comes to the integrity of our election. Let's solve that so the frustration that we watched today does not continue into the next election. Let's not be silent about it. Let's solve it. Senator
Tim Scott had an election integrity commission that he wants to begin, and I think that work will be done in the future and absolutely needs to happen given all of the disgruntlement over the election. One last question before I let you go, and I have Senator Rand Paul coming up next. I just want to let everyone know. But we're told that by our reporter at the Pentagon that it has been Vice President Pence who has been dealing with the Pentagon on the questions of the National Guard and deploying them to help around the Capitol. Why is it Vice President Pence rather than the president who has been handling that?
Well, I know the Vice President has been in constant contact with us and also along with the security inside the Capitol. I communicated with the Vice President early on when it came in regards to getting the National Guard there. He said, I'll call right now. I had conversations with the President staff as well about calling in. I know the President, when I talked to him about getting out to the American public to make a statement, but also to make sure the security of the Capitol is intact. I know it was his concern to make that happen too, but I know the Vice President jumped from the very beginning to make it happen.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Minority Leader McCarthy. Very good to have you. I'm glad you're okay. It's been a horrible day for everyone on the Hill, and we do hope that you all can get back to the business that you started today to show that continuity of government. I think it would be a very important symbol to everybody who's watching this from the outside. Thank you, sir. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
So joining me now by phone is Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who says that he does not think there is going to be another objection tonight. Senator Paul, thank you for being here. First of all, it's been quite a day, a horrible day for the country to watch all of this. Your big picture thoughts about what we've witnessed at the Capitol today.
You know, it wasn't a good day for our country. People here are rattled. Brought back bad memories of being shot at the ballpark a few years ago when we had congressional baseball practice. Fortunately, it didn't end that way, but, you know, someone did die tonight. You know, having a mob break into the Capitol is a terrible thing. And, you know, I just don't understand it, you know, exactly what's going on. But with the question at hand, conservatives should know that the Electoral College is something we support because it supports states' rights to run the elections. And when there's a problem, it's going to have to be fixed at the states. The fix isn't up here. For people to be led to believe that the Electoral College can be changed after the vote and that people can come in Washington and have Congress overturn the election is an absurdity. It's really a mistake for people to believe that. It's never happened before. It was never intended to happen. And if it did, it would be overturning everything that we cherish about states' rights, that these powers are something that are left to the states and the people, and they don't belong to the federal government. But can you imagine what would happen to this country if every 4 years we have Congress overturning an election? It would be chaos. And that's what you saw today, chaos and anarchy, and we have to stop it. People need to know this is not the way you try to preserve your country or make your country better. I have a lot of the same complaints. I want the elections to be better, but I'll spend the next 2 years lobbying state legislatures to try to fix the election law so this doesn't happen again. But this isn't constructive, and it started out with a bad premise and by some people who I think are confused in the Senate and the House who think, oh, Congress is allowed to overturn elections. That was never appropriate. It's not a conservative tradition, and it was a big mistake to do this.
You know, I think there's two elements to what you're talking about. And, you know, when you do look at the constitutional issues that arose in places like Pennsylvania, where you have a legislature that was overruled by the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, that is a real constitutional issue. I don't understand why the Supreme Court didn't take that up. It is a clear question about how the Constitution should dominate in that issue. So there are real issues that people have been fired up about, and I think rightfully so. On the other hand, you're also saying that people should never have thought that this could be overturned once each state, because the states have the power to certify their own electoral college, but they were told that by President Trump, and they were told that Vice President Pence was going to defend him in that and do something different than what he ended up saying he was going to do, which was to allow these states to have their peace. What do you say to the president about all of that transpiring before this happened?
The message I have really is for everyone. The Electoral College is the friend of those who believe in states' rights, and it destroys the Electoral College to think that Congress would overturn them. You know, the states certified the elections. Not one state sent other electors. Not one state disputed the election. Now, you're right. I disagree with changing the electoral laws, having Secretary of States in Pennsylvania change the laws. But what happened is, in there and also in Michigan, is the law was actually silent on whether or not you could solicit votes, whether or not the Secretary of State could send out solicitations, applications, and ballots. Mm-hmm. And so what the courts ruled was, well, the law doesn't say you can't do it, so you must be allowed to do it. I disagree with the ruling, but the way we fix this is next year in Pennsylvania, we control the Pennsylvania state legislature. We should pass a law that says you're not allowed to, the taxpayer dollars aren't allowed to be used to solicit votes, and that absentee votes have to be counted according to the law, and that secretaries of state can't change the law passed by the legislature. But we don't do it by destroying the Electoral College. If we destroy the Electoral College, all the calls now are going to be from the left to get rid of the Electoral College. Conservatives will never win again in this country. So we shouldn't be trashing the very institution that has been the way we win the presidency, and the only way we've been winning the presidency recently is through the Electoral College. That's
absolutely true. You know, with regard to your party on the whole, the Republican Party, we heard from Mitch McConnell today. He talked about a shared commitment to truth and ground rules. He said he was worried about a death spiral for democracy, and this is before any of this happened. He said that he had respect for people's decisions and would defend our system of government for the future. Now, that put him in stark opposition to Ted Cruz and to Senator Hawley, who wanted to use the process to contest these states, which they have a right to do. But where does this leave the Republican Party when you've got this very deep cleave over how all of this has been handled?
Well, there's a certain degree of disingenuousness from those who are objecting. They're saying, oh, we don't want to overturn the election. We just want to protest. Well, hey, baby, I've been protesting since the very beginning with the best of them. I'm all for protest. Protest is a rally where you protest and you speak your mind. But protest isn't trying to overturn the Electoral College. The vote we will take, and we're going to take it in about an hour, and I think the vote has been condensed to one vote. I don't think they'll appeal all of the states. I think the events of the day have chastened them somewhat. But they aren't protesting. They are voting to overturn the election. And as much as I don't like the outcome, as much as I think the states could have done a better job and we should fix the election laws in the states, I can't vote to overturn the election. But they keep telling us, oh, we're not voting to overturn the election. We're voting to protest the election. That's not what the vote is. They're characterizing the vote as a protest, but it's not a protest. The vote is not to seat these electors. The result is Donald Trump would win the presidency. That's what they're asking us to do. It's an extraordinarily radical idea that would overturn everything we've ever done in this country with regard to the Electoral College. And I can't believe people have been thinking, oh, yeah, this will just be normal. And I think that this heightened tension that everything's been stolen just, has led to this feeling that nobody believes there's any integrity anymore, and so they're just going to riot. And the thing is that we can fix this problem. It's not a problem that can't be fixed. We fix it by going to all the state legislatures, and that's what I'm going to spend the next year doing, going to every state legislature and trying to pass election reform laws so they can't do this again. But rioting and anarchy is not the answer.
So you think even though Republicans will not have a majority in the Senate, that these vote fixes can be pushed through Republican state legislatures and will make a difference by the time the 2022...
It's the only thing. It's the only constructive thing being offered is what I'm offering. Fix it at the state level.
Yep.
At the federal level, we don't control the House. We don't control the Senate.
Nope.
We won't control the presidency. But the other thing is as a conservative and someone who believes that elections should be done at the state level, it's what we believe in. We don't believe in a federal fix to this. So what happens is people jump to the easy solution. They say, oh, there's this problem. We got ripped off in the election, so Congress should fix it. But the problem is, it's against our philosophy to say Congress fix it. Our philosophy says it should remain with the states, and really state capitals should be important places. State reps, state senators should be incredibly important. I will lobby mine. I've already started lobbying my state reps and state senators to say we need to pass election law reforms in Kentucky. But it's not the business of Washington to do it, and then setting up this false expectation that will overturn the Electoral College and everybody's going to be happy with that. No, it would have led to chaos and war coming from the other side had the election been overturned.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you. Good to have you here tonight on a very rough day for the country. Good to speak with you, sir.
Thanks, Martha.
So my next guest organized a March to Save America rally in D.C., which took place earlier today at the beginning of all of this. Kylie Jane Kremer is Executive Director of Women for America First. Kylie, thank you very much for being here today. Tell me what your experience was today and what you think about all of what happened. Kylie, are you hearing me?
Can you hear me, Martha?
There we go. Hi, Kylie. I don't know if you heard my question. Thank you for being here. My question is, you were